For a very long time, we Anglophones them, we the people of West Cameroon, we Ambazonians who want to call ourselves Ambazonia, would not always make mockery of Francophones them or the system, the regime in place. Say, when you talk something, it matter not only depending on who are you. Tu es qui, tu es même quoi, tu es même qui, tu connais qui, tu as qui en haut. So you talk your voice matter now for the family where you come out, whether some man for your pan a commissioner or a judge or a minister. Now for the way the thing where you talk it matter. Wouldn't always love Francophone them. But for the past 8 years, we also wouldn't discover and say we will get the same problem. Where people that if you say something it be right or wrong, depending on your own PhD. So why for Francophone them, they own about power, for we our own them become about PhD. You get for inside room where 4 ambassadors they shouldn't or they debate. They could ask and say, who is right? Now who you get PhD, you don't learn, you don't go school, go end up outside before you be right or wrong. We too will suffer that same type of problem. Something it not be right or wrong depend on who get the highest qualification. Something they be right or wrong depend on facts. Facts the guide opinion, not be the other way around. Today, fellow Ambazonians, na Capo Daniel is the talk. When a chairman, the champion where he don't put pigeon for front, he don't put the common man give on a voice for speak. Where today, even for Cameroon, their parliament, they don't talk pigeon. Una welcome for this very big episode. Una don't hear about the thing where the talk says on solution, they way they work for ground. Yes, solution, they way will you push them very hard, make it come. That solution na devolution. As we push this solution, for past 1 year, we run the campaign so we need to get direct negotiation with Cameroon for solve the problem. Because we know if they rely on the international community for solve the problem for we. The international community, they don't talk straight, ho-ha. Say, until we will represent the struggle, we will bring solution for table, the solution will remain the way we did. The European representative of Cameroon, they don't talk them. Americans, they don't talk them. All man don't talk them for we would are here. So that fight, finally, in a time for solution now for camp. That time for the campaign for direct negotiation, it don't pass. Now, na time for we for bring the solution. When I hear say Kunda titles, it don't go, it talk about now the Anglophone solution. When a person that way be done talk, say there is nothing like appeasement, there is nothing like solving the problem, the solution for them will be not only for kill. When I see say it done the change. Why they done the change? Why all these changes that they go on? Even the conduct for the Cameroon military, where they start begin arrest people that sustain Gala Gerard Iran 20th May. Now wait till that happen. Now say wouldn't the push for solution where it go far. The last time we I be declare cessation of hostility, speaking on behalf of the People's Right Advocative Platform PRAP. When I see how they be call me for interview, I go for Media Prime. We'll talk for day. All Cameroon, their newspaper, them, the French, their newspaper, they be carry them. The CPDM people, then they be choose na Nick Ngwanyam, make it can talk. And they attend the port, they can sabotage them. But as things that they go on, we will receive more and more details than for things the way they happen. And I believe say it be important. Maybe we'll go back, we'll go listen for which way Dr. Nick Ngwanyam, he be talk him. Even though as low-level CPDM person, the thing the way he talk him, na very critical things and way would know say it be in consideration. The team for Cameroon has said they will be proud. We don't start a campaign, we don't push a solution. Plenty of people that they will want to take over the solution. Paul Biya to the one show say it to be the think about the solution. But it be more important me wanna understand say whether our solution or not their own solution, the ability for this solution to ever come to fusion, it will depend on we embracing this solution. If we don't embrace him, Paul Biya will die and give this country to the next president with this problem, and we will be worse off, and the chances to solve the problem will actually reduce. So we're gonna take this thing them seriously. Now I will take una go go for inside the Nick Ngwanyam a presentation. But before we do that, I don't get people that don't forward me this production where this guy them for this they call this Ambazonian channel that I make a small documentary where they talk about the case for Ambazonia. And I want to make some very critical points them. One of the breakthrough would not get them, we will be able now for the push for a solution. Now say would not accept certain principle them. The principle of sovereignty where the Cameroon government either insists, say if we challenge them on this principle, they go continue to fight and they go to kill our people. They no go ever stop them. In exchange, the Cameroon government talks say they don't accept the problem. We start the talk say there's no problem. Now their president either even go for international stage, apologize, say they'll try to assimilate us, they fail. Instead, with the mocking and mock them, they don't declare their special status and their grand national dialogue. Yes, nothing they that way no be the right solution, but now a starting point. We no need for just talk say no. We the talk say correct, meet up our demand, but we also need for put for table way to hold the demand now. If we only demand na independence, we need even change ground, we no go even go anywhere. The hawks for the regime they go continue for day, and they go end up take power for that country and we go suffer even more. Trust me, it will happen if we no adjust. When I be here as the answer for Justice Ayapo, the good news na say either understand what you be talking and either understand the principle they want to be talking, so what you be talking may be right. I will show na some two document them for the Federal Republic of Cameroon, the first country will be formed when will be joined La République du Cameroon. Some people then the way they make the argument say will not be ever join La République du Cameroon. The same time they talk say it is so Cameroon no be fit sign treaty with we because a sovereign state cannot enter a treaty with a non-sovereign state. So if they make that argument, say they no be fit sign treaty with us, then they no fit talk say where is a union treaty? Because even in our argument, we don't establish and say a sovereign state can only get into treaty with a non-sovereign state. So there was no way Cameroon will unite, French Cameroon will unite with us, Southern Cameroon, when they were a sovereign state, when we were still under the British government and sign a union treaty. That argument actually shows that there was no requirement to sign a union treaty. There was no requirement as such. That is why the United Nations Resolution 1608 designated the day that the union will get into force. So the negotiation was not about union, it was more about the condition of living together. So I will show now these two documents them. It be very important. Make una hear, una read them. It will establish the basis them for we for stand on that solid ground for push for our independence or fight for freedom. We not say ultimately we are going na independence, but if we no get them now, with the shift so that we will use na small forget for day. So this document I will show them na part for the Federal Cameroon Constitution. I will make a big so that me all man for ground zero na fisiam, all one mami them the fisi way for day. This document will be very important because it show we the facts, how the international community they see we, and they think the way we must accept them. If we not accept them, we will there be big trouble. So the one na the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Cameroon, will be submitted for the United Nations, African Union, and all place. So the one na the legal basis them. I will read some part them for day so that maybe una see them for ground zero. Me some man no talk say the one they talk lie, the one they talk true. Una feel read them for day with me as a day. For the first Article 1 for that constitution, it talks about it. The Federal Republic of Cameroon is formed. That means they don't create a new country where they call them say Federal Republic of Cameroon. That country nobody exists before 1961. It start for day na 1st of October 1961. You see the right hand day. As from 1st October 1961, that country, the Federal Republic of Cameroon, it be formed of the territory of the Republic of Cameroon. That means French Cameroon. It be formed of the Republic of Cameroon, henceforth called East Cameroon. That means a Francophone Cameroon. The French Cameroon we would used to call as La République. It be na East Cameroon. The territory of the Southern Cameroons. That is the official name of our territory. Southern Cameroons. They no write republic for day. Because when I see Cameroon, they only like republic. Will not be done be a country on its own. So will not be done be a sovereign state. Will not be done be a country on its own. Will not be done be a sovereign state. we will see being under the British government. Why they write and they say for our own they no write republic. If they write republic, they go write they go attach them with British government because our sovereignty will be held by British government. Will not be on our own. Will be a quasi region of Nigeria. Before this 1st of October, we were Nigerian. Our nationality were Nigerian as prescribed by the Nigerian Constitution. Our passport was Nigerian passport. But from this day, 1st of October 1961, we became independent by joining French Cameroon to form a new country called Federal Republic of Cameroon. You can see that is a document. Mr. Mano can talk say kapot da nebi di talk. Now the constitution is around put amego na siam. That Cameroon na siam, it then form a new country. That new country na a sovereign country. Now one Cameroon that na the one Cameroon that we did. They call it the Federal Republic of Cameroon where they can't change them back. The problem where they na say some more people they talk say they can't change this Cameroon. It means say this the francophone side they can't take over our country, they can't colonize us, they can't annex us. Now, two theory of thought then they. When I be there for University of Nchang, we will make protests, then catch we, then torture we. Cameroon Minister of Higher Education at that time, they be calling wait who again? The minister waiting for prison now. He can see we for solve the problem. Atangana Mebara. They be bid with the refusal will be a part for SCNC, but we will be really fighting against marginalization. Then solve that problem. They give me one document they call it a form when written by Carson Anyangwe. That on the right hand they say the Anglophone problem. The pamphlet, the writer Anglophone problem. In that problem, Carson Anyangwe described the changing of the form of the state as annexation, that we were annexed. The idea say we were never a part of it, that we were annexed by the act of transforming the country, we were annexed. Those are some of our narrative. I want to lay those grounds so that people will understand. Some people say that we were never part of Cameroon. But these are the facts I want to show you so that you can see for your own self and any rational person will understand for themselves. If you go down for the document for the constitution, it comes down, it talks that Cameroon shall be what? English and French. It will have peace, work, fatherland. Some people that they talk say the two countries that they gather together to form an unequal status. That means they unite to form a country where the two states will be equal. If they like time where you want to go married, you go talk, make promise, you go for front mayor, they go talk say, this married, you make your promise, you talk say, we shall marry until death do us apart, in goodness and in bad, in poverty and in health. All those verbal agreements wey you make and those your old wey you give, e no dey for inside your marriage certificate. So if tomorrow you go on for go divorce, your husband talk say he want divorce you or your woman talk say he want left you, you go talk say no, you cannot divorce because during our marriage you said that until death do us apart, so we cannot divorce until death do us apart. The judge, you go talk say no, those promises and oath that you people make were not in the contract. What matters is what is in the contract. So even though they talk say the two Cameroon then join on as equal partners, there is nothing in the constitution that says that the two were equal partners. There's nothing in the constitution. We have to understand that when they say joining, you are joining something that is already existing. We were supposed to join Nigeria to become part of Nigeria, join Cameroon to become part of Cameroon. We were also Southern Cameroon. We had that one name, Cameroon. So when we joined La République du Cameroon, the constitution of Cameroon, it says that what? Look at nationality, the last paragraph in Article 1. It says, nationals of the federated state, that means the people, them citizens of the various federated states, shall be citizen of the Federal Republic of Cameroon, shall be citizen of the Federal Republic, and shall possess Cameroonian nationality. So the talk where Godidinka talks we no begin nationality, it is not founded. The Constitution of the Federal Republic grants Cameroon nationality to the federated state. That means we were Cameroonians by nationality under international law by virtue of the Federal Republic Constitution. That is number 2. So me that one idea, but I take another part for the Constitution. I'll make this one me big also so that make all na feel read that me no beside the talk na only thing why they see am for here, but make una also una see am. This one, before we go for this one, I want to talk some critical thing we talk about the sovereignty, the sovereign power for that new country form. Who get the sovereign power? I'm gonna see them again for this first one. I hide the second one. You go now for sovereignty. Article 2. National sovereignty shall be vested in the Cameroonian people, which shall exercise such sovereignty either through their deputies in the Federal Assembly or by a referendum. So now only two ways the Cameroonians defeat exercise their sovereign power, through referendum or through their parliamentarianism where they be for parliament. This one will be very important point make una sabi am. Because some people they talk say when Cameroon government it be changed, and if explain it so that make una no make una get una the confused. So now the constitution this. Okay. They say the authority entrusted with the guidance of the state shall derive their powers from the people through elections. Universal suffrage. The last part where I want for point of one, they will be important. Now the federal authority, Article 4. The federal authority shall be exercised by the President of the Federal Republic and the Federal National Assembly. So that is to show you the power which Amadou Ahidjo was operating under. The vice president did not have the power to exercise the federal authority. It was the president who exercised the federal authority. So the president of the Federal Republic of Cameroon was the president of the people of both federated states. He acts as a superpower over the two federated states. And if you look at the powers that the constitution gives, it's the powers of the federal authority, nationality. It comes on there. And then you go right for, that one not there for document. For the other article where you talk about the part them where the federated state then get them, the authority them, it talks that they're going to use those authority until a time when the president, I read them for you directly. This one, Article 6, last paragraph. The powers of the executive and the legislative authority. So far as concern matters enumerated in the article, the authority of the federated state may continue to enact law and to direct the corresponding administrative services unto such a time as the Federal National Assembly or the President of the Federal Republic, as case may be, shall decide to exercise the power vested in them, respectively. So it talks about it. Say the authority, even the authority where the federated state then get them, they go to exercise them until when the president, it means if the president decides to exercise some power, it go do them. If the National Assembly, the Federal Assembly decide to exercise their power, they go do them. So the constitution talks say the federal authority then gets superpower. They feel take over jurisdiction where the federated state then get them, they exercise them. So when the Amadou Ahidjo, if he transformed the constitution through that he unlawful, unlawful, there is something you call unlawful. It's different from legal. Unlawful means say you use law way in the wrong way or law against the text. Because the text for Article 47 talks that the constitution shall not be amended. The form of the state shall not be amended. The only way it could be amended was through the various state, the federated states. But what Amadou Ahidjo did was he called the Federal Assembly gathered to decide on matter. That means they assume and they take over the responsibility of the both federated states, and they transform the constitution through a referendum. It was legal, but it was unlawful. Something can be illegal, something can be unlawful, while it is legal. The legal authority means that they were the competent people authorized who could do it. Did they do it the right way? No. There was an injustice there. But does the injustice make the law not to be a law? No, it doesn't. If a parliament pass a wrong law, it must be obeyed, it must be enforced until such a time when that law is reversed or it is quashed by a high court, a competent court. In this case, the change of transformation of that constitution were never brought in front of the Supreme Court, which according to the constitution had jurisdiction over constitutional matters. You had a judgment of a high court which is considered as a very strong opinion, but not authority to enforce constitutional matters. That's why Paul Biya Idan gather constitutional law, put them for a best friend for inside their parliament. They're not even separate. We used to have Supreme Court. They have separated the Supreme Court now and create a constitutional court, which is separate from there. They are struggling to protect any such scrutiny, but it is what it is. So, fellow Ambazonian, I go never make una listen for Nick Ngwanyam. Una hear way to way he talk am say na he wey the president of Cameroon, they think am for their think tank, for the CPDM Central Committee them on their solution for this problem wey dey for inside. The reason why they bring them up, as I repeat for now, because there is something in it. It is real. The considerations are real, and you people should know the scenario and know what to do or what to expect if those scenarios they play out. They are forced to do these things because we have come out there to put to the people to fight for this solution. So now they want to hurriedly to put their own out there so that people should know. But our people should know the things that are being considered, the type of solution, so that by now we can establish what we can accept, what we cannot accept, if we even have power to refuse or not to refuse. But we are pushing for something and we must leverage what we are pushing for. So let's listen to Nick Ngwanyam.
To do what is right, what is just, and what is good. Now you are doing exactly what His Eminence Christian Cardinal Toomey of blessed memory wanted for the people, but we all rejected him on both sides. The fighting Anglophones, they rejected him. The government also rejected him, and he went away with his pain. But I'm here to continue in the light of what he wanted for Cameroon. I will continue to speak his mind. I will continue to speak his wishes. And what I can tell all Cameroonians is that whatever Cardinal Toomey wanted for this nation is what will happen, and we'll all have it. It will be one nation with two peoples. There will be West Cameroon, there will be East Cameroon, there will be a president, a vice president. The capital of West Cameroon shall be in Numba. The capital of East Cameroon shall be at Ebebda. The capital of the Central region shall be in Balmayo. The capital of the Southwest region shall be in a place called Alu, not very far from Manyemen, on the way to Kumba. So these are the things that are going to happen. And among some of the other things that are going to happen, we will have.
So they are telling you people what they are considering to as a solution to end this war. And this is what the regime they are considering. But our people must know what we stand for. We have put for devolution. That is the solution we have called for. If Cameroon wants to solve this problem to go back to East Cameroon, West Cameroon, that will be a good thing. That can meet with the devolution of power, because we want constitutional devolution of power. We don't want the type of constitution that was like the federal constitution. We don't want that federation. Devolution is better than federation. We have put forth examples and blueprints that are fashioned after French examples. So Polynester, the French Polynester, is a roadmap that we want. We want to have full autonomy, exclusive jurisdiction that cannot be subvented by the head of state. So that is what we want. But our people should listen to what they are saying and take these type of things into serious consideration. It is time for us to come together and work out a new social contract for our people. It is time for us to put real practical solutions on the table in order to advance the protection of our people and end this war of shame. So let us listen to Dr. Nick, and I'll comment on some parts of what he says. But my intention is for you people to take what he's saying seriously.
Take out all the graduates from ENAM that are ruling in the nation and give back power to the people, because most of the problems that are created in this country come from ENAM, which is a tool of the French to divide the people.
How do you achieve what you just are talking about? Because
so the ending termination of ENAM, the recruitment of teachers in Economa and all those things are very good for our society. Like I've always said, the People's Right Advocative Platform, we are pushing for a total revamp, change of the whole system. We are not just asking for change of regime. We are not asking for power or political power. We are asking for the mechanism of the state to be changed, to be reformed. Because what we see today, Cameroon is a relic of colonialism. Their constitution, their way of life, their way of thinking. People do not have rights. People abuse power. The citizens have become servants to the civil servants who are supposed to be the servants of the people. And it has become a type of system that development cannot take place. Sanity cannot take place. There is no honor. So we have to change the whole system. And we have our own roadmap, which we have presented. But take a listen.
There must be political machination or machinery that should bring what you're saying to light. You are a militant of the CPDM party. How do you achieve what you're saying?
That's fine.
Does it fall in line with what your party advocates for?
So now let's go back a little bit. In 2017, when the war was picking steam, in 2017, that was around February, Prime Minister Philemon Yang came to Bamenda and had a meeting at the Congress Hall. I was at that meeting, and I think I was wearing this very jacket that on that day. And in the course of the discussions, I stood up and I said one thing, and I continue to say it. I said, Mr. Prime Minister, the government of Cameroon has sinned against the people. The government of Cameroon has done a couple of wrong things. And I also said, those that have picked up guns and are fighting have also done something wrong. That means both sides have failed the people. They have done wrong things. And what we ought to have done at that material moment, I mean, Prime Minister Philemon is down, Young is leaving, the governor of the Northwest, they are all leaving, and there were many other people there. That's what I said. And I went on to say this: let us all forgive each other. The government should forgive the Anglophones, and the Anglophones should forgive the government. Let us talk over these things genuinely and solve the problem. And if we had done that, all this killing and destruction, waste of money would not have been there. But we choose not to do so. In any case, His Excellency Philemon Yang was trying his best, actually, to see how he could move the agenda to satisfy everybody. And I remember he was still negotiating with the teachers and so on, and the other people at Ayaba, when one of our ministers, another Anglophone, was talking of some rubbish on a foreign TV station, which irritated everybody and caused a lot of trauma and damage.
So when I hear, he also did talk about the origin of the struggle. Say the Cameroon government be genuinely engaged, the lawyers and the teacher them for resolve this problem. See, there was some genuineness in what was going on. But there was some provocation. Remember what he's saying. This is the initial stages of this war in 2017. That one of the ministers, the people of Cameroon, went on air on international TV to set certain very provocative thing, and that was Atanganjipo. I'll put the name even though they don't want to put the name. That was Atanganjipo. Right from the beginning, there are people who were trying to provoke war, provoke us Ambazonians to war. There were people within the regime that were sponsoring people to provoke war because they were looking at that war as a means for them to grab money from the state and to feed themselves large, to become relevant. And they succeeded for the most part. Atanganjipo, who was just there running around in Yaoundé, became a minister. And the people, Ferdinand Gongo and all those old brooms, who were being removed from power from the Cameroon government by Paul Biya, they all became revived and they take power, and today they are almost taking total control of the country because of this war. So make no mistake, there are people within the regime who wanted the thing to escalate right from the beginning, as you can hear Dr. Nick Ngwanyam explaining. These are just the truth, and people should listen to it carefully.
The same thing too happened when this current prime minister, when he was also trying to negotiate and see how he could talk softly to both sides and solve the problem. One other minister, again, I don't know if the same minister or another one, still went on, was it RFE or whatever, and still talked that rubbish. And it is this acidic language that has pushed us to where we are. People will talk rubbish and now create a very dangerous situation in the nation.
So when I remember, time we fighting we start for Bamenda. Time where Alabo come pick up weapons. The time where Alabo come pick up weapons. Now who we start that fight? Now Tangan Jipo come for Commercial Avenue. Can't start fight for the. When I remember, me gonna not forget now Tangan Jipo can't start fight for Bamenda. So me gonna begin understand things them as it day. Because when problem day, people they make dust, smoke dust for begin fufu people them. Will they die for nothing? Me gonna listen very carefully. Me some man no talk say some man here na for the one they talk. No, do your own research. Listen. If the two way somebody talk when a lie, you leave them. But the truth shall be spoken, and only the truth shall set us free. Now listen.
They are not fighting. Their children are not fighting. They're going to recruit the children of others to carry the guns and fight, be they soldiers on both sides or whatever. So we create a problem where children of other people are dying and we are talking nonsense.
So now remember, Atanga Jipo recruited people in Pinyin when the Amber Boys, even the name Amber Boys had not yet come up. Atanga Jipo went and recruited people. So there are people within the regime who understands the system and who have studied Biya very well, and they wanted war for them to take over that country. This parasite. These are the things that happen. So let's follow the story, and you people here first.
That has been the problem. And unfortunately, along the line, the cardinal wanted to see how Anglophones would come together, so we talk over this thing, then go to this so-called national dialogue and speak with one voice. But unfortunately, problems were still brewing, and what many people thought was good enough was to torpedo what the cardinal was trying to do. And today we are suffering because we lack wisdom. I remember telling someone who attended that meeting with us in the Congress Hall, I said, I don't know whether I said it on the floor or I said it personally, I said wisdom is stronger than appointment. The problem of Cameroon is that we have a lot of people who are appointed but who lack wisdom. And because you lack wisdom, you create a lot of suffering for the nation, you create a lot of suffering for the people, because you lack truth, because you lack love, you lack empathy, and you don't respect people. So it's a behavioral problem where people think more of themselves than the common good, and they create all these problems. They kill others and think they are doing a great job. The president of the republic, President Paul Biya, can appoint you fair and good, but an appointment in itself calls for you to have wisdom. If you don't have wisdom and you have power, you will use it to cause a lot of damage, and that's what we are suffering today. It is possible.
So maybe not hear these things because these are just truth. There are people within the regime that have been toxic, that injects, directly provoke. That is what Konda titles have been doing. They have provoked war. They have sustained the war. They give up weapons even to our Amazonian fighters. I speak like a deputy defense chief which have worked with the ADF. Sometimes they provide us bullets freely to go around and shoot in town, to go and make noise so that people will know that there is a war going on and they will be receiving their money. And people are dying. There is an actual war. There is an actual conflict. Nobody should think that way. I'm saying the contrary. But for the most part, the war have been fueled by people who make benefit from this war. people who get relevance, who maintain their jobs and their position. This economic of war have taken hold of both sides, and it is now useless for us to continue to fight a war when we have been trapped by their logic to continue to fight while they milk our people. We can't continue like this. So listen to the truth. This is not our proposition, but I want you to take a listen so that you should know that there is a real push for solution that is going on in the background. We are not saying that we have arrived at a solution. The People's Right Advocative Platform, our pattern for the solution is to secure critical support from the international community, because we cannot still trust these people. No matter what Paul Biya have as his dream or the CPDM people are talking about, it will mean nothing if we don't have mechanism to implement it that is supported from outside the country. Let's continue.
And it's the only thing that is going to happen.
Okay.
Because like we have said somewhere else, if you look at the war now that is going on between Ukraine and Russia, I can tell you that that war would end at a round table. What is happening between the Israelites and the Palestinians, that thing would end at the round table. All wars, they end at the round table. So our own situation in Cameroon is not going to be different. And even as we speak, you know, quote me, His Excellency President Paul Biya is of the mindset that this nonsense should stop, and that we should this dialogue should go on, this negotiated settlement or whatever should go on, and as long as we keep Cameroon one and united, but we put in what it takes for us to coexist and function normally, it will be okay. So
the main thing is that the Paul Biya don't want the country to be separated. That is their red line, and we should look for a way to live together. No matter what has happened, the war will end to negotiation. It is upon us on the other side, party to the conflict, to bring to the table solutions. It is our obligation, it is our duty, and we are taking that responsibility seriously. That's why we have submitted the peace plan paper. We have not yet made it as an offer yet. We are still in the stage for campaigning, and that calls for devolution, one country, two people. That secures us authority and power, constitutional authority and power. And the constitution itself defines the constitute of the board of the nation, how the nation is formed. We want it to be clear in the constitution. It shows that this country is formed by two separate states, the territory of the Southern Cameroon and the territory of the Republic of Cameroon, French Cameroon.
For me, quote me, that His Excellency President Paul Biya wants this problem solved as long as it is not a divided Cameroon. It's one Cameroon, two people, West Cameroon, East Cameroon. We put in what it takes for the nation to work. And as long as we can do that, it's okay. It's okay, and that is what is going to be, and it's going to come. So if you are wondering whether President Paul Biya would like this or not, hear it from me that yes, he would like it, and yes, he wants us to continue to talk about it and see how we can make it to go forward. Because though we are talking about the Swiss talks, we're talking about the Canadian talks, we can as well say that on this platform today, we have started those talks, and as we can actually just agree in Cameroon and get it going, and only get a third party to certify to say, yes, these people, they actually agreed to do the right thing. And if the major national dialogue had...
So the main thing, like we have proposed, one country, two people. They say one Cameroon, two people. We say one country, two people. That is the motto and the spirit of the peace plan paper. And the regime have reacted in this manner that the conversation should go on. And the format should be that the third party should come in to certify what both sides have decided. That is how negotiation should be done on a round table. So, but let's listen to their vision.
Actually paid attention to what we had to what was going on and did the right thing, we will not be here today. It's because the national dialogue went on a tangent, left the problem and was treating something else. They set their own examination and marked it and gave it an answer, which was wrong. That's why we are having problems today. Actually, special status or whatever makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. And we have
So even the CPDM people, they talk to the special status doesn't make any sense. I think in ground zero, it is quite evident. When I see every day SDO, DO, they wake up, give nonsense authority for 6 people that buy give curfew. And those are the people we have problem with. We don't have problem with the mayors and those people who are elected, even though we have a problem on how they are elected. But we don't have problem. The problem we have is at the administrators, the governors, the SDOs, and the DOs, which were not touched by the special status. So the form of the state wasn't touched by them. The constitute how the state is constituted is not touched by them. So these are all facts. I want to make una listen.
all go back to the drawing table and get everything right. Once we get it right, there will be no problem, and I bet you this problem will be solved. And the problem will not be solved by the next president, it will be solved by His Excellency President Paul Biya, because that's his legacy. He wants it solved, and it will be solved. And I must say that if it has stayed so long, it's because of the people around him, some people around him who told him things that were not true, and then it got everybody in a mess. So now he wants it to be solved, and it will be solved. And those people around him who are deceiving him, ask them. They will tell you that Pa doesn't listen to them anymore because he wants the problem solved. We cannot keep deceiving ourselves for 8 years. Now, we were talking about something that happened. There was this Peter Kingsmanyong of blessed memory. In 2017, I learned something new from him. You know, there was this thing that he called the dogs of war phenomenon. I don't know whether Colbert too was talking about it, but I think that thing came from Peter Kingsmanyong, the dogs of war phenomenon. He was warning us at the time, and he cited the issue of Bin Laden and as to how this kind of wars they evolve. You know, at the time, you know, the Anglophone groups, they had these Anglophone groups that were fighting, and the voices on the ground could listen to the people from abroad, and there was some kind of a coordination as long as, you know, there were some resources coming and some sense of order. But as we go along, all these generals, they begin to pop up on their own, so that there is a disconnect between the ground forces, and those that were said to be giving them orders. And when that happens, because young people, once they take the gun and begin to realize that they have power in their hands, then that power goes into their heads and they can do just about anything. And then even you who gave them the guns and the money, they would not listen to you again. And when we get to that kind of a situation, it becomes very chaotic, very dirty, and very unfortunate. And that is the that phenomenon is called dogs of war phenomenon, where the dog will turn around and eat its master. You know, that's why Bin Laden was killed, because Bin Laden, I understand, was put in place by the Americans, but Bin Laden turned against the Americans, and the Americans went for him. So dogs of war phenomenon is something that happens. And then there is the war economy that has set in now, and the war economy too is very dirty. At the end of the day, people are no longer fighting for the cause. People are fighting but for their stomachs, fighting for some other things, which is not what actually triggered the war. And if you don't take care of that kind of an economic decay or economic situation where people begin to look at what they are getting out of the war, when people put their sweet tooth on free money or free opportunities coming from that, then the whole thing becomes very chaotic, and you would end up with some people in the government or people on the Amazonian side who do not want the war to end because it becomes their business. And we are saying that all of that has got to stop. Let us go back to the drawing table, get things right, and stop this nonsense, because a lot of people are suffering.
Okay, so many persons.
The war of shame, because this problem actually would have been solved just when it started if we did the right thing. And even right now, if we want to end this war now, 1 month is too much and the thing is over. So it's just about doing what is right, doing what is just, and doing what is good. Not running away. You can't run away from a problem. Face the problem. Face the truth. Use the truth to solve the problem. If you go around, turn around in circles and not face that truth, then you're only postponing it to another day. Like I was saying, what we call the major national dialogue was a golden opportunity to solve that problem, but we choose not to solve the problem. We choose to play around it, and then here we are today with more deaths and more chaos on our hands. Yet if we had gone to that thing and faced the truth and spoke the truth, those problems would have ended in 2 weeks. Now we are back to it again, and we must solve this problem, and it will be the legacy of His Eminence Christian Cardinal Toomey that he is resting and knowing that his people have been liberated, in the sense that they are no longer under the yoke of something that they don't like, that we are in a country that is not divided, is one and unified country, but with two people, two cultures, who respect each other. No one is a slave to the other. No one is a slave to the other. The Anglophones might be in a minority in terms of numbers, but that doesn't make them your slaves. No, that's not true. English is not inferior. I think it's just when you are drunk, you think English is inferior. To be treating people who speak English as being inferior because they speak English is a sign of lack of education. So we go for things that don't really matter, and we are saying that we have come of age, and we have come to a point in time where we have to solve the problem. And I bet you this problem will be solved in less than a month, when the president gives the green light. President Paul Biya will give the green light, and this will be solving the Anglophone problem, correcting the economics of the nation, correcting the politics of the nation, correcting the development of a nation, providing jobs and opportunities for youths, building a new Cameroon which is solid. That will be the legacy of His Eminence Christian Cardinal Toomey, what he always wanted for his people, and that will be the legacy of President Paul Biya before he leaves. So this is not negotiable, and these are things that are going to happen. Too bad for people who don't believe it. That's what is going to happen. If you don't believe it, it's your problem. And if you don't believe it, please don't stop the people who are trying to do the right thing. It's been a lot of people, whether you are appointed, not appointed, power or not, and so on, a lot of people have used the power that was given to them in confidence by the president to hurt the nation. And we've come to a point to say, enough is enough. Stop it. Thank you.
Okay, what he's saying.
Let us start off by congratulating Capo Daniel for making the right step in the right direction and doing what is right. Like I've said before, what is true is true. You don't need. Truth does not need majority. Truth has got Truth has nothing to do with democracy. Truth has got nothing to do with votes. So you can be alone and you are speaking the truth. And you can have 10 million people on the other side who are living in a lie. A lie remains a lie, and a lie can never become a truth just because of numbers. So that is the foundation of things. Where does the truth stand? That thing which is good, which is right, which is just. Once you can identify it and stick with it, whether you are alone, if you are alone, fine, continue in it. But as time goes on, other people will see the light and join you. And there is nothing as strong as the truth. It does not exist. There is nothing as strong as love. There is nothing as strong as wisdom. All the guns, all the governments, all the appointments, all the blah, 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 blah. Nothing is as strong as truth, love, and wisdom. And when you have these things, you have it all. And nothing is as good as having respect for human life. Nothing. So, in the midst of the chaos, Capo Daniel recognizes this truth, and he is extending a hand to everybody, including the government and all the other fighters and all the other Anglophones and all Cameroonians, to say, We were in darkness, and the truth is over there, and I have that truth in this peace plant. So it's something for us to bite into. And we would say that we have started to talk about it today. We'll continue to talk about it. And it's just like, you know, when the rain starts to fall, water starts to gather in little drops, and then you have little gullies, and those gullies later on form large masses of runoff water, and before you know it, you have a stream that can sweep away people, like it happened in Boya. But it started as little drops of rain. So we have our little drops of peace today, but it's going to be a massive movement before you know it. And before we know it, the mass of people that are for the peace will be more than those that are for violence, and that is going to cause the shift towards the peace movement. That said, we are still going to have one or two people who probably would not want to follow the mass because of their economic benefits from the war. That is understandable, but we'll see how we can convince them and help them to create industries, create jobs, and so on. And by the way, I think this is the time to say that when President Paul Biya is talking of import substitution, this import substitution will go a long way to solve the Anglophone problem, to solve the problem of youth unemployment in Cameroon, to solve the problems of our poverty, to solve the problem of our underdevelopment. It's about industry. And if you have to step back a little bit, you will see that this our fight between Anglophone, Francophone, Anglophone war, the violence and so on, it all comes from a failed educational system for the past 60 years. So, you know, if we don't correct that, we will not get it right. We might be blaming the French, we might be blaming the English, we might be blaming the Chinese, I don't know who else we are blaming. But the bottom line is, our children don't have food, our children don't have work, our children have no future. Those children, as they are running and dying in the Mediterranean Sea, dying in the Sahara, suffering abroad, it is that suffering which gets people to ask the question, but for heaven's sake, I have a nation, why should I be suffering? And then we start asking those questions. And I'm saying that to solve this Anglophone problem, ENAM must go. ENAM and NASLA must go. They are the tools for marginalizing people, not only Anglophones, but they are the tools used by the colonial people to continue to hold Cameroon by the testes. They must go. That's what I was saying, that, you know, initially it was very clear what people were fighting for. And then, just like Peter Magnon, you know, Peter King's Magnon said, when the phenomenon of dogs of war sets in, when the economics of war sets in, when people use the gun and taste of power and can have control over people, it becomes very difficult to know what is motivating A, B, or C from fighting. So you might have a whole front, but in that front, you would have different people in it with different motives. And that's where it becomes very, very tricky. And if you don't stop the war on time, then things become so complicated that everybody ends up being eaten by the monster we created. So it's very important that we stop this war right now before there's a spillover effect that we cannot handle. The economics of war is raging, and people have tasted of power, and they're using that power to cause more harm than good. And this is not only happening on one side, it's happening on both sides. So when we get to this situation, the earlier we stop the nonsense, the better.
Okay, so
We'll step